me, this TSA woman. Now, it is my opinion, I can't prove it, but that she did this to be punitive. What she did, like what happened to Miss USA, she took the side of her hand and she stuck it in my vagina 4 times. They go up one leg and then up the other leg. She did it 4 times. Each time she jammed it up there. And I was so shocked. And I was already sobbing and had intended to sob, but I didn't understand that a crime would be committed there. I thought, the government allows I considered a crime what they do already, that they're groping your breasts. There's no probable cause. There was no sign that I would be meeting with Al-Qaeda, in Binghamton, New York. I was interviewing some anthropologists. And
undoubtedly, this is a giant power grab. It's about setting the precedent. They're now announcing they're going to be on the streets of America doing this. I have 2 daughters and a son. We can't travel because my children, like any other small children, ages 8, 7, and 3, especially the little ones, they get upset around strangers. Sometimes they don't know. They come over and grab your leg. That's normal instincts. And children cry when they're drug away from their parents and grope. Babies have their diapers taken off. And it's this bizarre behavior. And you're one of the only other people that I've seen out there that's really gotten what this is. At your advice column, advicegoddess.com, you wrote, TSA searches obedience training for the American public. And that's actually what this is. It's about setting a precedent to get into our bodily person. Now they're announcing, hey, don't worry. You want to take your shoes off. We're going to have high-powered MRI systems that are many times a chest x-ray beaming you. And these poor TSA people, and I say poor people, it's now come out they're getting massive increases in cancer because they're living basically inside of an x-ray machine. But I'm digressing. So you get up to the point, you're crying, you're telling her you don't like it.
What happened, I was just sobbing. It was so shocking to me to not only have what is the standard be done to me, but have this woman go really far. And someone on my blog this morning said, oh, you're a drama queen. A woman like you makes this up. Well, I was just in New Orleans. I also got groped. I also cried. And what I wonder is why doesn't everyone else cry as their constitutional rights are totally violated? But in that case, I didn't scream, you raped me, because she did the standard thing where they go up your leg. But she did not go into my vagina, which is just obscene and horrible. So I screamed, you raped me. You sexually violated me. I called my boyfriend. I was terribly upset. And then I blogged about it when I got home, and I blogged this woman's name, because I don't think if you do this, you're wearing a name tag as an emissary of the government, that you get to be scot-free about it, that we need to name the people who are committing crimes against us. And I think anybody who works for the government searching you without probable cause, by the way, is a criminal and should be named. It's not just somebody who goes much further like this woman did, as I believe, in a punitive way. That's my belief, that she intended to punish me for not going quietly and being one of the we the sheeple, like so many people who go pleasantly, compliantly, and politely.
Well, we're talking to one of the latest in a long line of victims, advice columnist and author, Amy Alkon. Amy, there's so many facets to this, but an FBI agent can't walk up in a park and stick their hands down your pants, or even on the outside. It's a felony. It is sexual assault, and it is confirmed. Last year, when we first started exposing this, they were even doing this to young girls and boys. The TSA came out and said we weren't telling the truth till all these videos got released. They are ripping colostomy bags off old men, urology bags. I hate to get into all this. They are making women take out piercings that are in their breast with pliers themselves. They are laughing at people. They are asking women out for dates. A bunch of them have been busted being pedophiles. And the social engineers know that if they can get away with this, they can get away with anything. And the nightmare just goes on and on. And then they always say, oh, Miss USA's being extreme. It's not that bad. Well, I've been with Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota, working on his TV show with him. And I've watched him saying, this is why I spend most of the year in Mexico. This is East Germany. And now he will not fly, so he has to drive around in a RV for the next season of it. I'm getting to where I won't fly. We're about to buy an RV. Right before we went live here, I was in there looking at used buses and RVs because of this. And then they say, oh, you should get over it. In any culture in the world, This is insane. In Ventura's lawsuit, and I watched it happen to him, they went into his butt cheeks, and that's what his lawsuit says, and actually start checking. Let me make sure there's nothing in there, like it's a prison check, and start. Ron Paul, a congressman's talked about it. He's a medical doctor. They grab his genitals and squeeze them. And men and women describe this as being lifted off the ground. They go in to check. They make women go and take tampons off. I'm sorry to start ranting here. It's just that this is so insane. And in closing, and then I want to get your comments on it. Then they try to deny this. First they said we're not on the outside of the pants. Then we're not on the inside. I have witnessed them go in the pants, and the pilots last year said, we're quitting, we're not going to fly anymore, so they stopped it with them. Grown men were going and throwing up, and people said, oh, don't be a wimp. Look, being sexually violated, having people touch sexual organs when you don't want it, is the ultimate violation. It's a form of serious torture that they used it on people in Abu Ghraib. I'm sorry, but you're a victim, and now they're trying to persecute you, which shows what type of just terrorists the TSA are.
We cannot go quietly. And the thing is, this is absolutely a power grab. And the reason we know this is security, not security. The TSA has not stopped one terrorist attempt on the United States. The only ones that actually were stopped by accident or by passengers, like the panty bomber whose detonator broke. I mean, and there is nobody who's going to take out a box cutter and bring down a plane, because those big American men are going to take that guy down, or that woman, in the case that it's a woman. So this is all about making us docile. So when we have our rights taken in other situations, we're quietly compliant. And my question to everyone is, why aren't you all sobbing at the TSA? Why aren't you all screaming and crying? We have this Constitution. We benefit from it. You don't get to sit there and watch as it's ripped up at the airport door.
Well, Amy, Alkon, let me throw this at you just real quick. I talked to a young woman today, and now I'm talking to other people and confirming this is happening. An entire family was basically put through the body scanners. They made this woman do it twice. A 17-year-old. It failed, so then they groped her, and the family was all sitting, putting their clothes back on, their shoes back on. They left the area, and a TSA walked over, she described, with his hands behind his back, like he was a Nazi officer, and said, "Are you angry?" And they said, "Well, no." And he said, "Good, because you are being watched," and clicked his heels and walked off. So it's this new harassment. Oh, you didn't like us touching your genitals. You didn't like us sticking your fingers into your buttocks to make sure nothing's in there. You didn't like it. Well, guess what? I'm trained to pick out thought criminals just by looking at you. I mean, this is so Orwellian. And then,
it really is.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is. And they have this, I don't have the exact code. I don't think I can find it right now. But they have this code that says you can't say anything. You can't you can't speak up. You can't do anything to sort of make the process not go easily for them. Well, is our First Amendment gone now too with the Fourth? Is that the next to go? And the way this woman is suing me because I name names on my blog. I mean, it's absolutely
Well, I mean, is she suing you yet, or is she threatening to sue you?
No, I'm sorry. It's a letter of demand right now. So she sent me this letter of demand. But I have to say, this morning at my gate, I had a sweet old man my landlord hires to mow the lawn, and somebody tried to get past him and actually was impersonating a police officer. I think he said, "I'm with the police." I can't quite remember because I was all upset, but the guy didn't let him in. The gardener didn't let him in, and I said, don't let him in, don't let him lock the gate, and so I think they're trying to serve me now.
Well, they're going on the offensive. They've come out against Matt Drudge, Big Sis has. And she says, there's nothing Orwellian. You're just flat wrong. And they tell Congress, there's no radiation. And then we get this test, and they're not even following federal law on radiology. And there's huge cancer clusters. And what they're building is, they're building an army of people that will do whatever they're told. And I've talked to TSA agents. They've come to rallies I've had in Austin against the TSA. And they say, look, I just wanted a job. And then slowly they get you indoctrinated. But they said now they call you behind closed doors and say, are you worried about radiation? Are you not wanting to touch genitals? And if they say yes, they say thank you. And then 2 weeks later, pink slip you. So what they're doing is building an army of people that'll do whatever they're told.
Right. Yeah. It's really disgusting. I was going to add that I read Napolitano came out and said the scanners, they've been tested to be safe. And I think it was Johns Hopkins came out and they said, well, no, actually, we didn't say that we tested them to be safe. You know, there's all this stuff that comes out, and there's something recently that came out, I think through EPIC, saying that that the scanners were not even meant to be used on humans. And it's so crazy. People are just going through them. People think that the government will protect them. And as a libertarian and a civil libertarian, and somebody who reads the paper all the time, I know that that's not true, and it's increasingly not true.
Well, it's worse than that. I now have video from Fox News in upstate New York and Tennessee where they have National Guard under TSA command with huge roadside scanners that are industrial, because they've had them on the border for decades, and they roll your car over rollers. The Border Patrol is in armored lead buildings with cameras, and they run cars through looking for drugs or other things. Now they just have them on the side of the highway and have families drive right through them, and they're roughly 100 times more powerful than a chest X-ray. So insanity has gotten into the federal government. Amy, the blog, of course, is something everybody should visit, advicegoddess.com. People should certainly stand up for your First Amendment. They're probably going to try to intimidate you and get you to settle, and they're going to technically say, you know, doing our duty is not rape when the government does it. But I think that you just demand a jury, take it all the way, and say, is someone, and they admittedly do this. I don't know about your case, but I do know that they go up into the labia, and they do, you know, check to see if anything's in there. This is the beginning of cavity searches, and if a cavity search is not sexual assault, then I don't know what is. I mean, this is a new precedent where we don't just microwave you, but we're going to give you a cavity search.
Crazy, absolutely crazy, and wrong. And I just urge people, if anybody gets anything out of what I did, I'm just a little person. I just want to, I'm concerned about the whole, and I want people to get the message they need to speak up. When their rights are being violated, don't take them for granted, because we're just a few steps away from a police state if everyone starts doing that.
Oh, I think we're a few hundred miles deep into a police state, and it's getting more and more insane by the minute. And you know, a lot of these TSA people have been basically indoctrinated into this culture where they think that what they're doing is okay and good, and it's painful for them when people are upset and cry.
And it should be. And you know what? They do not deserve, it's like the German